started. I love this automatic thing. 1, 2. Oh, I'm really nervous. There's so many in the camera.
I don't know.
Alright.
I'm not judging you.
Hey guys, welcome to Reptiles for Thought. Again, this is our second video with a little bit higher production quality. We have a microphone, we have a ring light, I have a gaming chair.
That's not a gaming chair, Jesse.
I have a chair from IKEA.
You wouldn't let me get a gaming chair. You're on an IKEA chair.
I have a chair from IKEA. I think gaming chairs look stupid. Anyways, that's not the point of this video.
It's not cool.
Today's video is about Petco and all of the cons and the bad things that go along with Petco. Why are you laughing? Hello?
Are you talking to me?
Oh my god. Okay.
I was texting.
So, I have my Jurassic Park shirt on because I thought that it would be good when we're talking about reptiles.
No, that's not the case. You've worn that for like 3 days now.
No. I picked it out today specifically because I wanted to wear it when I was talking about reptiles. So, yeah, we're just going to talk about Petco Cons, just like why you shouldn't support Petco and why you shouldn't be getting your animals from Petco, whether they be reptiles or just any animals that Petco sells, besides like the adoption agencies that go through Petco, with cats and dogs specifically. So I actually am going to reference 2 other videos that I've watched about Petco and why you shouldn't support them. And the reason I'm making this video is because recently Eric, my boyfriend, the one you just saw, made a mistake. We purchased an animal from Petco, and I'm not sending out any hate to anybody who does this because we have actually we have one animal from PetSmart and one animal from Petco, and we didn't have problems with our ball python from PetSmart, but we did get our ball python from PetSmart. Again, you should support your breeders. You should support your local breeders or breeders online, rather than get them from PetSmart. But this one looked in pretty good condition, so we got her. We love her very much, and she's growing up really, really nicely. But the second animal that I'm gonna let this go because this is my little start and stop thing, and I'm playing with it too much. But our second animal that we got from Petco was a tokay gecko, and the reason we decided to get the tokay gecko from Petco is because we had done a lot of research about tokays, and it was one of Eric's dream lizards or gecko, and we had the materials for a gecko, and we saw her in Petco, and it was very much just like a, oh my goodness, we have to have this tokay.
I saved her.
It's not saving.
I saved her.
She was so inexpensive, and it really was just like we needed to have her, and that's why we ended up getting her. But oh my gosh, the loads of problems that came with her were tremendous, and definitely always get captive bred tokays, especially because
they're only they're $20 more than what Petco sells them.
They're only $20 more.
You save money in the long run.
And you're definitely going to save money because I can tell you the vet bills that go along with nursing a wild-caught tokay back to health. My gosh.
Well, we had to pay $75 just for a walk-in.
$78 for a walk-in.
There's other people that are going into the vet and get charged $300 like the other guy. Yeah,
some exotic vets do charge a lot, but we are lucky enough that we have a vet that is sort of a normal vet, but also an exotic vet. So it's just a little bit less expensive because they're not primarily exotic, an exotic vet. So we were lucky when it came to that. But anyways, we got our tokay gecko. Her name is Poke. We got her from Petco. When we got her, she was not in good shape. She was super dull in color. She was really skinny. And we put her into a bioactive Exoterra, and she seemed to be doing well. She was active. She was jumping around, moving about. She was eating all right. She was eating pretty well. But then we noticed that now we still aren't completely sure the actual foundation of where these mites came from, but we fed our ball python miso, and literally right after she finished eating, we looked at her and we noticed some snake mites on her, and that was terrifying because who wants mites? And it's just such a hassle to deal with. So
we have now learned it was from our local reptile shop.
We are pretty positive it's from our local reptile shop. 99.9% sure. Fun fact, feeder mice, especially live feeder, not frozen feeder mice, only live feeder mice, they can carry reptile mites on them from reptile shops. And so again, you should feed your snakes frozen thawed if you can get them to eat frozen thawed. And she's a baby, she's about 3 months old, so we were feeding her live because that was all that she would take. We tried to feed her frozen thawed like 3 times before, and she wasn't eating, and it had been almost a month where she wasn't eating, so we decided to get her live. But that's the last time we fed her live because we noticed the snake mites. So we noticed the snake mites on her. We decided we needed to investigate Poke more. So we looked at Poke and we noticed that she had some mites on her too. We don't know if Poke had mites, gave them to our ball python, or the mites did come from the live feeder mice. Whatever the source of the mites were, we noticed that Poke had something on her, and they kind of look like lizard mites, the more red colored mites. So we had to start the process of cleaning our ball python and our toka gecko of mites, and then we had to take them out of their lovely enclosures and put them into quarantine tubs and go through the process of bathing them, cleaning everything, completely sanitizing everything. We are completely mite free right now, but after we had the mite problem with Poke, we already wanted to take her to the vet after we had gotten her from Petco because we knew the bad reputation of the quality of animals that Petco sells. So we knew we were gonna have to go to the vet. So we took her to the vet. He checked her out. What he noticed on the physical of looking at her was that she was skinny and that she was having trouble shedding. And that was partially because we had put her in a quarantine tub, so she wasn't getting the optimal humidity and temperatures that she needed. We helped her with that. She has shed. She has a little bit of shed left, but she's almost completely done with her shed. Why are you laughing?
I told you I'm texting.
Okay. And
I'm being a nerd.
So he said we should give in a fecal sample for her, and so the next time she pooped, defecated, whatever you want to call it, we collected it and we gave it to our vet. And unfortunately, she did have internal parasites. Now I'm not going to be able to pronounce it. Coccidia, something. Starts with a C.
Chlamydia.
No, it's an internal parasite, and so then we had to start treating her for that, which was basically every day for 6 days you have to give her 0.04 cc's of this liquid medicine. Give it to her, which is not a fun experience for the gecko. It's pretty stressful. And then you also what goes along with that is being stressed that your snake also got the internal parasites, which luckily she didn't. We tested her fecal and she's completely fine. But again, you get one pet from Petco, and rather than doing one quarantine when you get your animal from a breeder or a reputable online source, and you just get to quarantine that animal for 2-3 weeks and watch it, and that's all you have to do. We ended up getting an animal that cost us $78 going into a walk-in. Then we had to pay $38 for the fecal, and then we had to pay another $30 for the medicine. And now she's finished her medicine, but we still have to monitor her, and 21 days later have to send in another fecal sample, which is another $35 to make sure that all of the parasites are gone. So that is why we are making a video about why you shouldn't get your animals from Petco, because you're going to put yourself out of a lot of money, and you're just going to get animals that are not in good shape. And the big thing that we're going to focus on is the moral dilemma you might feel when you see an animal that you feel needs to be saved from Petco. And the videos that I'm going to be referencing are videos from this guy Tyler and from Snake Discovery. They've both made videos about this, and the things that they both focus on about the moral dilemma that you might feel when you see an animal that you feel is in need of help, and they definitely are in need of help, is you think that you might be saving them by buying them from Petco and taking them home. Realistically, you might be saving that one animal, but you are also putting a bunch of other animals into a not great situation, because you give Petco money, you give the company money, you give them more money to then buy from these mass breeders, from these people who import and take wild caught animals that are full of parasites, full of mites, all this stuff, that are malnourished, and they're just going to keep replacing the revenue that you are supporting by buying these animals. So, for example, we went to the Petco where we got our toke gecko. They had already replaced it. We went to another Petco today. They had 2 toke geckos. And thinking about how hard it is to get captive bred tokes, or how kind of expensive they are, or what it takes to breed them, and then you see how Petco so easily has so many, you know they're wild caught. You know that they're not coming from the best of circumstances. And you're not only supporting a bad corporation, but you're also supporting the depletion of a wild population, which is never okay, unless it's to start breeding and start a captive bred population of that animal. So that's the big part, because that's what Eric and I felt. We felt, I just said parked. Eric and I felt, oh, we're saving this animal by rescuing it from Petco, when in reality we just put ourselves out of a lot of money, and we just supported Petco in getting more toke geckos, which isn't great. Anyway, she's doing really well now. Her colors are much brighter. She's eating again. She's all good.
Insert a picture now.
I will insert a picture. But let me talk about my most recent experience going to Petco. Our most recent experience going to Petco. We literally went today, because I'll insert a video where my actual reaction of going to that Petco is. But we went, and we needed to go because we needed to get, we wanted to have some spare reptile spray and bird mite spray, because those also work for reptile mites. We wanted to get those just to have, just in case anything ever happened again. We wanted to be prepared. And we went in there, we looked at the reptile section. Not only did they have toke geckos, but they had 2 toke geckos in the same really small enclosure. They were on top of each other. You don't know whether those are male or female. You don't know what they've been through, and they were so dark and they looked so stressed, and it was really heartbreaking to see. And then you look at that, and then you look over at the leopard geckos, and they have like 5 baby leopard geckos all in the same really small enclosure. Their humidity is at 0%. And I saw one in particular baby leopard gecko that was having problems shedding and had like cuts on its back, and it was just really sad to see, and it made me really upset. And we're gonna by all means try to avoid going to Petco, even if it's for something that we have to order online, to make sure that we have sorry, we have a bunny too. Eric's playing with the bunny. So that was our most recent experience with Petco, and it's just kind of, it's an upsetting thing, and it may look so tempting because you see the reptiles and you're like, oh, they're so cute, or they look so sick, I want to take care of them. Or even when it's their hamsters or their guinea pigs. They had a guinea pig set up by themselves, and if you guys know this, guinea pigs can die of loneliness. So just seeing a guinea pig by itself was really, really sad. It looked so depressed. I can't even think about it. It's gonna make me cry. But yeah, even their hamsters they get them from mass breeders. They're treated horribly. They probably have so many problems. And just don't go to Petco or PetSmart for animals. The adoption events are completely fine. You should try your best just to suck it up for a little bit. Leave that pet store, and if you really want that animal, do some more research. Find a good breeder and get them that way. You're going to be much happier. You're going to be spending less money, and you're going to have a much happier, healthier, friendlier animal to deal with. Because Poke's been a little bit difficult to tame. She's getting there, but she did nip me the other day. She got a tiny little bite on my hand.
Barely.
What?
Barely.
She did like a little nip, like a little
It was a love bite.
It was a love bite. She was just mad that we were giving her medicine. So I have some notes on the videos I watched by Tyler and Snake Discovery. And what I thought was really interesting is Snake Discovery, she worked at PetSmart, and she managed her store wonderfully. She did a wonderful job. But she really knows the ins and outs of how this all works. And what she tells you to do if you see a sick animal is to first notify management of the sick animal. Then you contact corporate if nothing is done, and then you can take a picture and move it to social media so that other people know, because you'll be surprised how quickly corporate will respond when you post a picture of a poorly treated animal on social media. People are going to jump right on that. So that's what you really should do when you see an animal in poor condition. And like Snake Discovery says, it's really important to get the word out of there. And if you leave the animal, you know, there's a pretty good chance it'll die. But when that animal dies, the company will realize that there isn't really a market for that animal, or people aren't supporting that market. And then they will be, I got a notification. They will be less inclined to then continue to supply or replace those animals. And hopefully that just ends the cycle of poorly treated reptiles and other animals. Let me see if I have anything else. Oh, here's another thing. From Tyler's video, this is a really good point if you ever want to get into breeding with reptiles and you think, you know what, here's a really good cheap place where I can get my animals from and I can start my own breeding project. You should know the genetics of the animals that you're breeding as thoroughly as possible. And you're definitely not going to get that from Petco. You're going to go to Petco, you'll see a leopard gecko, and it'll just say baby leopard geckos. It might say, you might ask and they'll go, oh, it's an albino. What does that mean? There are 3 different types of albinos for leopard geckos, and you just don't know what you'll get when you breed that animal. You don't know what the phenotypes are. You can look at it and you can see what it looks like, but you have no idea the underlying genetics of that animal. So ethically, from a breeding standpoint, if you're trying to start a breeding project affordably, you should just get your animals from a breeder, and they'll tell you the genetics of the animal, so you'll be able to know what you're going to get. And also that way you don't muddy up the breeding waters. That's another thing. Also, this isn't me hating on the employees of Petco, because you gotta get money and you gotta work somehow. And a lot of the times Petco and PetSmart don't train their employees correctly on the care of especially reptiles, but just most of the animals. So you can go there and you can ask, well, what lighting do I need for a ball python, or what bedding do I need for a ball python? And as we know now, aspen is just like not a good bedding for ball pythons, and they'll say aspen's really good, or you need a basking light and a heat pad and a UVB light for a ball python, which really you should just have a heating pad. They don't bask, they're ball pythons. And just the basic care. They can't give you a good care guide of your animal, so how are you going to be able to care for your animal in the best way that you can? So really, you should just do your research, get your animal from a breeder. They'll be so much healthier, they'll be so much happier, they'll live much longer lives, and they'll just make so much better pets for you. They'll be great pets. And that's pretty much all I have to say about Petco. I just really wanted to make a video about this just because Eric and I have been so involved in the shortcomings of buying from pet stores like that, and I'm disappointed in ourselves for supporting it. I love my tokay gecko more than anything, but she came with so many problems, and she's just starting to get better, and we've had her for a while now, and that could have impacted the rest of our reptile collection. We have 2 mourning geckos, a leopard gecko who we got from a really lovely guy. She's our rescue leopard gecko. We have our ball python, and we have the tokay gecko, and we're planning to, hi Mochi, it's my bunny, and we're planning to get more, and we could have really hurt the rest of our reptile collection, which is never a good thing. So, yeah, basically just to wrap up the video, like I said before, if you want an awesome reptile, get one. Do your research, learn about it, make your own care guide, watch a bunch of videos about them, and then find a good breeder, find a reputable breeder, find a reputable online source for them, and get yourself that reptile, because you deserve to make a reptile really happy in a loving home, and you just get a really awesome scaly friend, or scaleless friend, depending on what you get. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry if this was a little rambly. I am so new to making videos, and we are planning on making a lot of videos in the future. Let us know what you want to see. If you want to see our reptile collection, if you want any care guides, care tips, we're still learning. We would love for you guys to learn with us. So leave a comment, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in our next video. Of course, when I need to stop the video, I lose my automatic stopper.